18, 18 deaths in 2 months, July and August of 2024 due to water logging. 3 children died due to faulty or contaminated syrup, cough syrup being given to them in Mohalla clinic. 33,000 deaths are reported in cities across the country due to air pollution, and the maximum number of those deaths occur in Delhi. One third of Delhi's children are afflicted with lung issues. This is what Apda is, and 26 people killed in 50 electrocution incidents in the last 1 year. And he has the audacity to question us. I think he's a shameless person. And I'm afraid Aam Aadmi Party, even when it comes to Mohalla clinic, there were 65,000 fictitious, fictitious number of patients. They've been pulled up by the Delhi High Court for their schools in the northeastern district of Delhi not being functional. So I think, there is a heap of disaster which they have unleashed upon Delhi, and Delhi is going to give them the same treatment which Maharashtra gave to the Agadi alliance 2 months ago.
Okay, Anjali, the Prime Minister sounded the poll bugle. The BJP once again reiterating what the Prime Minister essentially was trying to highlight. And all this while, we've seen the BJP say that 2011, Arvind Kejriwal made a certain promise to transform the political scenario in the national capital, during the allegations that it continued to level against the then UPA government at the centre, 15-year rule of Sheila Dikshit in the national capital. But what has the Aam Aadmi Party really achieved? What about those lofty promises of clean Yamuna, clean air to the people of the national capital? All the BJP says Aam Aadmi Party finds itself is in heaps of corruption allegations that are being probed and have been probed the last so many years.
Christine, I'm sorry to say that today's speech of Prime Minister was totally disappointing. He spoke like another local BJP neta. He was very happy to criticize us only. He didn't have any constructive program to announce. We were expecting bigger things. We were expecting bigger schemes, bigger programs to be announced by him. But in the whole speech, he just criticized us like his local neta. What he says that we don't fulfill our promises. What about their promises? In 2000, in their Sankalp Patra, they said they are going to give Pakka houses to everybody by 2022. But in last 5 years, only 4,700 houses were built. And 15 lakh people need Pakka houses. It means that he is planning to complete this project in 200 years. And Hardeep Puri ji, in 2019, he promised to give 40 lakh people Malikana Haq in unauthorized colonies. What happened? Not even 10% of people got that right. He criticized our education policy, our schools. But I want to remind that when Melania Trump came to India, instead of showing him any school in Gujarat, he sent her to Delhi to inspect the school. Why? And his own, Delhi government of India's think tank has already said that Delhi schools are the best in India. We are the people who spend 25% of their budget on education.
No, but what about the Delhi High Court reprimanding the Delhi government, talking about the poor state of schools in Northeast Delhi? That's what was highlighted by Tuhin Sinha. So respond to that pointed allegation. Yeah.
Listen, one school may be in bad condition, but generally speaking, whatever we have done in this field of education, nobody has done this. We have opened 3 new universities, 11 vocational colleges, 28 schools, and 6 new campuses, which is like historic. And he was just criticizing us, and he was feeling very happy and very proud just by doing Shilanyas of 3 colleges in 10 years. He didn't have anything to say. He was criticizing. He was making personal attacks. He was saying Sheeshmahal. But Kejriwal ji gave a very befitting reply. He not only said that 10,000 का सूट पहनते हैं, उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि 8,400 का जो प्लेन में ट्रैवल करते हैं और जो 2,400 करोड़ 8,400 करोड़ के प्लेन्स में ट्रैवल करते हैं और 2,400 करोड़ रुपए के घर में रहते हैं, उनको कम से कम ऐसी बात नहीं करनी चाहिए।
वो घर अगर प्राइम 24 1000 crore, 24 crore, whatever amount is being cited by the Aam Aadmi Party. Anjali, has that kind of renovation taken place at the Prime Minister's residence during peak of COVID?
It is not about renovation. That house in which a Prime Minister lives belongs to the Prime Minister. जो भी आएगा Prime Minister वही रहेगा. Similarly, this house belongs to the Chief Minister of Delhi. जो भी Chief Minister
Absolutely, but this is not the kind of house that Arvind Kejriwal wanted for a chief minister if he was going to take that top job in 2011. What changed his mind? Why this change of heart? That's what is being questioned, and that's why the BJP is saying this is double speak on part of the Aam Aadmi Party.
No, had he loved this house, he would have stayed longer in this house. When he came out of the jail, he immediately resigned and left the house.
Okay.
Please don't forget that he is the person who left his job of being IRS officer and went to jhuggies and clusters of Delhi to work for the downtrodden people of Delhi, to work for the upliftment of those people. ऐसा आदमी जो अपनी नौकरी छोड़कर झुग्गियों में जाकर काम करता है, उसे शीश महल की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. वो जो भी हाल में होगा वो खुश रहेगा.
The Sheesh Mahal renovations could have waited, right, Anjali, then for the next chief minister to come and go by what suits his or her luxuries. That's the only limited point that anybody is trying to make here. But I'll come back to you, Anjali, in just a bit. Karan, what do you make of this rebuttal by the Aam Aadmi Party? Also, to give it to the AAP, isn't it also true that AAP does dedicate a major chunk of its budget, almost 40%, to health and education, which is the highest in the country?
Which is even scarier, Christine, if you ask me, because I'll tell you, 2/3 of the Delhi government school, as per NCPCR, when they asked for a report, 2/3 of the 1024 government schools don't have a principal or a headmaster. Can you imagine this? 80% of the schools don't teach science in class 11th and 12th. If after allocating this much of budget, this is the condition of the Delhi government schools, where it has to be pulled up by the High Court. In fact, there is a massive scam that AAP has perpetrated where they've counted classrooms as toilets. Ma'am was just talking about the number of schools they've opened, 28. You know how much they had promised? 500 schools they had promised. So promising 500 schools, allocating this level of budget, where is this money going? This speaks of the volumes of corruption that they've done in the education sector. We know about the Mohalla clinic scam. Tuhin was rightly pointed out how ghost entries were made, how tests were conducted. I want to tell you about what's happening in Delhi government hospitals right now. One X-ray machine for 10,000 patients. An MRI has to wait for 6 months. That is the condition they've reduced Delhi government hospitals to right now. When you talk about Aapda, Christine, you know, Tuhin pointed a number of instances. They did not even have cryogenic containers to collect oxygen during COVID. That was the condition. People are getting electrocuted. They accepted on the floor of the MCD Civic Center that yes, we failed in desilting the drains. That is why this waterlogging, that is why this electrocution. I mean, this is a government which today has admitted that yes, they failed to clean Yamuna. Arvind Kejriwal has admitted in a summit that I have failed to clean Yamuna. I have failed to build the roads that I had planned. Water, I mean, the Delhi Jal Board is today reeling under heavy losses. The CAG has pulled them up कि अपनी आप books भी नहीं दे रहे हो हमें. Today, for the first time, the Delhi budget is going in a deficit after 1994. This is what this man has reduced to, and this man cannot even sign files. He's out on bail as a liquor scam accused. He was forced to resign. Ma'am was painting this glorifying image of his. He was forced to resign because he could not possibly enter the CM's office. This is the condition. The big question is, if he wins, would he still be allowed because the case is still on? I mean, if this is not Aapda, I don't know what the word Aapda means.
Okay, so there's lots that Anjali has to respond to, but before that, I'll let Neeraj come in. Neeraj, 15-year rule by Sheila Dikshit ji, and we do know the manner in which the Aam Aadmi Party criticized her work, her contribution towards the national capital, its development, so on and so forth. Do you think they've been able to justify the promises that they made in coming to power back in the day? I think it's a safe spot to ask you, given you two are not contesting elections together in the national capital.
So Christine, what is happening is, in next 30-35 days, we'll have the people to judge if they think that what Sheila ji did, were these people able to take it forward, or they want us to be back in power and continue what she did. My point is very simple. People in Delhi are large-hearted, but they are not that much naive as the Prime Minister thought them about. Because there is a multiplicity of governance in Delhi, people understand that BJP and Aam Aadmi Party have both been running a orchestrated government. because either it was in municipality or at the state level, and through the LG because of that notification which was brought in the parliament. So BJP has complete onus of whatever mishappening has happened in Delhi under Aam Aadmi Party's rule. And it was very selective of the Prime Minister in pointing out that Aam Aadmi Party has failed. He should have taken a bigger character and told that yes, our leadership of centre, though by the even of LG or the Home Minister, they have failed the people of Delhi. The promises which were made have not been there on the ground. I'll tell you one more example. From where I come from, in Badli, in 2012 I remember, Shikhaji was also part of Congress then, if I remember correctly. Sheila ji had made 5,600 flats for people from Juggi Jhopdi, and till today they have not been disbursed. Neither the LG has taken responsibility nor the state government, and now those apartments have come into shackle. If the Prime Minister's office or LG's office or even Chief Minister's office would have had some concern, we already had 5,600 houses which could have been given to the people. So what Sheila ji did, if these people would have just taken the baton forward, it would have been better for Delhi. Because sadly today, the entire system, the entire infrastructure of this city is collapsing. And one last point, the fiscal mismanagement by Delhi government is there to see for everyone. A recent study by the PRS, the Parliamentary Board, they did a recent survey and they have found out that the capital outlay for this year has come down by 30%. That means that Delhi government does not have money to create any asset for the future. And the major cut is in education and healthcare. So that is why whatever pompous claims Aam Aadmi Party are making, they don't hold water. And we just want the people of Delhi to listen to everyone and decide on the fact that you have somebody in the...
For the first time in 31 years, Anjali, it's always been in a healthy financial position. So there's a lot of explaining to do, because as we speak, there are more and more promises being made in the run-up to assembly elections by the Aam Aadmi Party. Before I go across to Tuhin, quick response.
Anjali, I don't think before Kejriwal ji, our budget was, Delhi's budget was in surplus. When Kejriwal ji came in 2015, after that our budget started being in surplus. This is the only, I don't know where, I don't believe even now it is going to be in losses.
So why seek a loan of 10,000 crores from the National Small Saving Funds, ma'am?
Maybe this year we maybe feel like facing the difficulty, because this year was totally difficult for us, and you also know, everybody know that what was BJP doing with our leaders, and all the programs got delayed because they were put into jail, and all the programs got delayed because of this reason. And I think that since Kejriwal ji has come out of the jail, and our leaders, all of our leaders have come out of the jail, again everything is doing well, and we'll do very well next year when we come back into this year, when we come back.
But nobody forced, Anjali, nobody forced Kejriwal to continue as the Chief Minister from behind bars. Tuhin, please respond.
You know, I'm amused at the response of the Aam Aadmi Party. The representative is saying that, you know, because they were not able to implement the programs, there is a deficit. If you were not able to implement the programs, there should be a surplus. Where is the money gone? Which actually explains that every money that they are sitting on, they are basically, you know, siphoning it off somewhere. This was the scam which they are perpetrating. Who was the one who was indulging in the data theft scam in the name of that fake Mahila Samman scheme? You know, where is the AAP money going? That is the big question. Today, Maulanas are not being paid their salary. Today, Anganwadi workers have not been getting their salary for the last many months. So where exactly is the salary going? If Kejriwal has an iota of dignity, has an iota of shame in him, he should go back to the 2013 days when he was promising he would not take a residence to stay. He should ideally, you know, sell off some of the latest gadgets which he has got in his house, and that would pay the bills of the Maulanas and the Anganwadi workers. Shame on the Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay, Anjali, quick response before I go across to Karan. Because you've not been able to fulfill your promises. You make promises to imams, they're not getting their salaries on time. DU professors funded by the Delhi government, only colleges funded by the Delhi government, 12 of them have come out to say that we are not getting our money on time. More so, you go on to make other promises. Right before elections, what explains the Aam Aadmi Party, despite not being able to fulfill their prior commitments, make an additional promise to Hindu priests and Sikh Granthis? If this is not happening for
is
vote
the
bank,
reason
why is this happening when you're incapable of actually living up to your promises?
Even old age pension is not happening for last 3 years.
Let me speak. Who is speaking?
I'm coming to you, Neeraj. Yes, Anjali.
If we have fulfilled 8 out of 10 promises, then you should applaud it. You say that we should not spend money on health and education sector. What do you want to say? We will fulfill our promises. And that a person from BJP, and I don't know, Karan Verma, whosoever, he was saying that we didn't make schools and all. I want to tell you that 60,000 schools have been shut all over India, and 27,000 alone in UP, 3,500 in Haryana. आपके पास कुछ आंसर है? आप जहां पर हैं वहां पर स्कूल कैसे बंद होते जा रहे हैं? 1 करोड़ से ज्यादा बच्चे जो हैं वो
I'll let Karan respond to that, but Anjali, two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. There are certain promises the Aam Aadmi Party has made. Why not live up to those promises? And you're talking about 8 of the 10 promises being fulfilled. What about clean Yamuna? What about air pollution? What about bringing an end to all of that?
That's why I said 10 out of 10. I didn't say we fulfilled 10 out of 10. कोई भी पूरी promises.
So apart from pollution and cleaning the Yamuna, perhaps all promises stand fulfilled. Karan.
So, Christine, this is the standard AAP playbook. Change the goalposts. This election is about their track record, but their spokesperson, whoever she is, they said that what about other places? They don't want to talk about that track record, their track record. Tuhin just asked a very valid question. Inka paisa gaya kahan? I'll tell him where their money is gone. 4,200% increase in advertising. Unprecedented. They have a smog tower which doesn't work, by the way, but they've managed to spend 21 CR spreading the message that we have a smog tower. This is typical AAP's modus operandi. They do nothing. 1,286 crores of environmental cess they've not used. In the Eastern Western Peripheral Expressway, by the way, ma'am, it was Arvind Kejriwal who thanked the Prime Minister. And when he was asked to contribute 1,000 crores to it, he said, I will not contribute for it. When he was asked to contribite for the RRTS project, the Supreme Court had to pull him up that you have money for advertising, but you don't have money to contribute for de-choking Delhi, which can improve air pollution metrics. So this is their standard playbook. 1,000 rupees, their administration has said they can't give to the women. They allocated a budget for it in March, notified in December. And now they've promised 2,100. They believe that they can get away with anything, zero accountability, but people of Delhi are smart enough this time around, ma'am, and they know what you've done. Leave aside...
What about your promises?
Zero promises. Absolutely.
What about your promises?
What about your promises? Look at this whataboutery. Look at this whataboutery. This election is about Delhi. She's saying, what about your promises? अरे आप हो 10 साल से टॉक अबाउट योर ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड
आपके अकाउंट में आप 2 करोड़ जॉब देने वाले थे आपने 2 करोड़ जॉब दे दिए आप किसानों का एमएसपी डबल करने जा रहे थे आपने कर दिया आपकी प्रॉमिस कहां है
This is the big question this time around.
Anjali, you know why these questions are specifically being asked to you is because Arvind Kejriwal has had 10 years. He's aiming for another 5 years, and the BJP, of course, the BJP is also making its agenda in the run-up to the assembly elections very clear that we want to pick on the loopholes that exist, and we're not going to let the Aam Aadmi Party get away with it. I'll come to you, but Neeraj has been waiting since a while. He wants to come and respond. Neeraj.
Christine ji, I just want to ask both BJP and Aam Aadmi Party that we know that Aam Aadmi Party has cut down the number of schools which teach sciences in Delhi. At least 40% of the schools do not have science as a faculty. But on the other hand, how many Kendriya Vidyalayas has the Prime Minister or the BJP given to Delhi? We need to hold both of them accountable because both of them have 50-50% partnership in Delhi government. And today, when everybody is talking about these core issues, these people don't have any answer. You should tell us how many central government schools did Delhi get, and Anjali should also tell us that why 40% students are not able to go to science faculty schools because there's no infrastructure. Questions are very simple. Okay. We can have a pointed debate on education, on healthcare. They have given this new scheme, but why did not they implement the Chiranjeevi scheme which we had brought? It covers the universal healthcare system. We had given a 25 lakh healthcare scheme in Rajasthan. So you could have picked that up. So if a pointed debate on issues happen, then BJP and Aam Aadmi, I'm afraid, have to run from the debate.
I'll let both the BJP and the AAP representative respond, but just to point it out, Neeraj, I'm really liking the spot that today you're placed in, which is, you know, neither siding with the Aam Aadmi Party but going after the Bharatiya Janata Party as well, and I'm afraid that's what it's going to look like.
We are just with the people of Delhi.
Okay.
We are raising the questions which people of Delhi are raising.
Okay. So Tuhin first to you and then to Anjali. How do you respond to add to this? Even Kejriwal said this. He said BJP has not done a single significant thing in Delhi. They promised permanent housing by 2022, but have built only 4,007 houses in the past 5 years. This even as the BJP claims it's the driving force behind Delhi's infra growth.
Either Arvind Kejriwal, you know, lives in denial, or he's an extremely ungrateful man. Let me just, you know, count you some of the things which we have given to Delhi. Eastern Western Peripheral Expressway, the Dwarka Expressway, which, you know, in the absence of these two, even the bottlenecks when it comes to traffic would have been unmanageable. Besides, the pollution would have gone, you know, would have made lives even worse in Delhi. Number 3, you know, the houses, 1675 houses today. We gave the Ayushman Bharat scheme across the country, which unfortunately Delhi does not implement. And in a condition, in a season like this, where old people and children are the worst sufferers, it is, you know, the absence of Ayushman Bharat scheme in Delhi only makes things worse for the elderly. So, I mean, we have done a lot for Delhi, but the point is, in the last 10 years, if the government...
How many central schools to in by?
Okay. Neeraj, running out of time. Apologies to I'll have to quickly interrupt 30 seconds to Anjali, and then I need to quickly wrap up. Sorry. Anjali.
Every time they talk about Ayushman, Christine, Ayushman scheme, but I want to ask him, कि दिल्ली में even if you go to clusters, वहां पर भी आप क्लस्टर में जाएंगे, उनके पास टीवी होता है, उनके पास फ्रिज भी होता है, मैंने खुद अपनी आंखों से देखे हैं, मैं जाती हूँ झुग्गियों में, और स्कूटर्स वगैरह होते हैं, लेकिन आयुष्मान स्कीम, ये अगर किसी के पास स्कूटर है, टीवी है, ऐसी चीजें हैं, तो दे आर नॉट अलाउड टू अवेल दिस स्कीम. तो दिल्ली में बहुत मुश्किल है इस स्कीम को से फायदा उठाना. दैट्स व्हाई
Also, the scheme applies to several other parts of the country as well. It's not limited to the people of the national capital. And we've heard different kind of feedbacks as well. Tuhin, apologies, that's all the time I have. I'll have to quickly wrap up. Whether or not this Aapda tag holds water, or the Aam Aadmi Party is going to fight it out and come back to power for the next 5 years remains to be seen. Still, it's going to be an action-packed election season in the national capital. Thank you, gentlemen, and Anjali for joining us for this very insightful debate. Coming up next after a very short break, a surprise in works in Maharashtra, a rare praise by Sanjay Raut and Supriya Sule for Devendra Fadnavis. And will the Pawars reunite? There's some strong signalling there. We'll talk about all of that in just a bit. Be right back.
Last night, January 1st at approximately 11:18 p.m., the NYPD received multiple 911 calls for several people shot in front of an event space located here at 91-12 144th Place. Our initial investigation revealed that approximately 90 people were inside the location in an upstairs private event space. The venue was at capacity and a queue of about 15 people formed outside awaiting as other attendees exited. 4 males were walking eastbound on 91st Avenue onto 144th Place towards the venue. 3 to 4 males then opened fire over 30 times in the direction of the group standing outside the event space, striking multiple victims. The males fled on foot westbound on 91st Street towards 143rd Place, where they entered a light-colored sedan with out-of-state plates. Officers responding to the multiple 911 calls found a total of 10 victims, 6 females, 4 males, which were taken to area hospitals. All of the victims are expected to recover with non-life-threatening injuries.
A Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside the Trump International Hotel, Las Vegas, Wednesday morning. Las Vegas police released this video of the blast, which killed the driver and injured several others. They also released footage that showed the vehicle's interior afterward, which they said showed gas and camp fuel canisters, as well as large firework mortars. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said the blast was unrelated to the Cybertruck itself, saying in a post on X, quote, "All vehicle telemetry was positive at the time of the explosion." FBI Special Agent Jeremy Schwartz told reporters on Wednesday that it was not yet clear whether the blast was an act of terrorism.
I know everybody's interested in that word and trying to see if we can say, hey, this is a terrorist attack. That is our goal, and that's what we're trying to do.
He added the vehicle had been rented from Colorado and that the FBI had identified the driver, but was not yet ready to publicly name them. The Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas is part of the Trump Organization, the company of President-elect Donald Trump, who will return to the White House later this month. Musk was a key backer of Trump in his 2024 presidential campaign and is also an advisor to the incoming president. The explosion occurred just hours after a man drove a truck into crowds of New Year's Day revelers in New Orleans, killing 15. The FBI said an ISIS flag was attached to a staff protruding from the trailer hitch, and that a potential explosive device was found in the rented vehicle. Las Vegas police said both that vehicle and the Cybertruck had been rented through car-sharing service Turo. President Joe Biden on Monday said law enforcement was still investigating whether the Las Vegas explosion and the New Orleans attack were linked.
More than a dozen people were killed by a man crashing his pickup truck into a crowd in New Orleans on New Year's Day. Several more people were injured by the attack on revelers in the city's French Quarter. Reuters obtained the following of first responders in the aftermath. Some viewers may find graphic. It happened around 3:15 a.m. at the intersection of Canal and Bourbon Streets, a historic tourist destination. An eyewitness said she heard the rev of an engine, a loud impact, then screams.
And debris, just metal, the sound of crunching metal and bodies.
Police say the driver was 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, an army veteran from Texas. Officers said they found an ISIS flag in the vehicle. Jabbar was said to be in full military gear, subsequently got in a shootout with police and was killed. The incident has prompted an investigation into possible links to terrorist organizations. Investigators say they found weapons and potential explosives in the suspect's vehicle. They also say he may not have acted alone. A search is ongoing for his known associates. Public records show Jabbar worked in real estate in Houston. He had spent 10 years in the US military as a human resources and IT specialist and had been deployed to Afghanistan. US President Joe Biden condemned the attack in a media briefing and revealed more details about Jabbar.
The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill.
Biden also said investigators were checking for any link to a vehicle explosion outside Trump Tower in Las Vegas, but that no evidence had been found so far. ISIS, also called Islamic State or ISIL, is a Muslim militant group. It once imposed a reign of terror in Iraq and Syria until it collapsed from fighting a US-led coalition. Experts
Welcome back. You're watching The Right Stand. Viewers, the Maharashtra state elections proved a turning point in state political landscape for a host of reasons. But even as days of speculation on the NDA power-sharing formula note-taking ceremony ended, a new twist appears to be shaping up in the political corridors of the state. Two parallel gestures have put the spotlight back on what the future of Maharashtra politics holds. One is in a never-before Sena UBT Sanjay Raut through party's official mouthpiece Samna heaping praises on Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. Remember, this isn't the BJP and the Sena from pre-2019 time, where the BJP and Shiv Sena were strong allies and where Shiv Sena was one united front. It's an equation that's seen some extremely bitter exchanges. Now, in a sudden turn of events, Sanjay Raut praised Maharashtra Chief Minister Fadnavis after 11 Naxals surrendered before the BJP leader in Gadchiroli. But even before this, rumor mills were buzzing ever since Ajit Pawar's mother said on Wednesday that she prayed for the reunion of the Pawar family. In fact, many leaders, both from Ajit Pawar's NCP and NCP led by Sharad Pawar, have welcomed the possibility of the merger of the two factions. So is there a possibility of some of these friends turned foe doing a rethink and extending an olive branch to their long-term rivals? Before we decode the same, here's some surprising responses that have come in from the newsmakers of the state.
जरूर हम अपोजिशन में बैठे हैं, लेकिन हमारी महाराष्ट्र से नाता है, राज्य हमारा है और इस राज्य में गढ़चिरौली जैसे जिले में जो नक्सलवाद है, वो नक्सलवादी अगर आत्मसमर्पण करते हैं और संविधान का मार्ग अपनाते हैं मुख्यमंत्री के सामने, तो उनका हम स्वागत करें।
अच्छी बात है, आपको याद होगा आर पाटिल जी ऐसे करते थे, तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि जो काम आर पाटिल जी ने जब खुद होम मिनिस्टर बने थे तब वो गढ़चिरौली बहुत जाते थे, और वो अच्छा काम आज देवेंद्र जी ही आगे ले रहे हैं। हम सबके लिए अच्छी बात है, माओवाद हो या जो टेररिज्म हो, उसके खिलाफ हम सभी हैं।
Let's quickly open this up. Shiv Sena national spokesperson of the BJP continues to stay on with us. Also joining us is CS Jha, leader Shiv Sena UBT, and Anish Gawande, spokesperson of NCP SP. Very good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for joining in this evening. I want to first up take in my first comment from CS Jha, because Sanjay Raut is a person and famously so known to not have two great things to say about the Congress, which is an ally of the Sena UBT. So forget the Bharatiya Janata Party. Why this change of heart, Mr. Jha?
See, we were with the BJP till 2019, and we have worked with Devendra Fadnavis ji in Maharashtra, and what the situation holds, how the ground holds. He knows everything. We also know everything. So the praise is with regard to the terrorism activity being curbed by him and surrender of the Naxalites. It's a good work which is being done by the CM. So we should always praise good work by any of the political person being done in a state. And we have never said against Mr. Fadnavis, but eventually the political tussle continues. And in Maharashtra, what will happen in 2-3 months or 6 months, it is time will say. But otherwise also, we have never have any enmity in regard to the political works being done by the political person. It is a political tussle, political things go on. If somebody does a good work, we should always pray.
Okay, there's no personal enmity here. Tuhin, are you a firm believer of what Mr. Jha is saying? You know, all past rivalry aside, election season's done with, we need to survive together in this space where we're only looking at the betterment of Maharashtra and all's forgotten.
Well, Christine, there are two things which are very evident here. Number one, yes, we are on the verge of eliminating the Naxal menace forever. You know, Gadchiroli, which at one point of time would be the hub of Naxal activities. Today, there is a steel plant, 12,000 crore worth of steel plant coming up right in the heart of Gadchiroli. People are being settled in areas which until a few years ago were infested with Naxal. So yes, that is a huge achievement. But knowing this present opposition, they would not have appreciated or they would not have complimented the government unless they were in complete disarray. And they are in complete disarray. Both UBT and Sharad Pawar's party are facing an existential crisis and they don't know where to go. They clearly realize that their future are not with the Congress party, which, by the way, is the cause of most of the problems for their alliance partners.
Okay. Anish, what's your take on this? Because as much as the focus is on, the surprising words coming in from Sanjay Raut, a lot is being spoken of, rather being speculated around the possibility of the Pawars coming back together, a possible reunion on the cards, would you say?
No, to start off with, Prithveen, I think the reality is that we've always believed in playing the role of a constructive opposition. If you saw Supriyata's statements today as well, they were praising Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis for the work that he's done, but also reminding the people of Maharashtra of the legacy of R.R. Patil, who was Home Minister and who, remember, took over Guardian Ministry of Gadchiroli in its most critical time. When he was Home Minister, around 8 districts in Maharashtra were Naxal-infested. After he was Home Minister, there were only 2. And that work is being carried on by Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and other governments. Because governance is continuity. As for the factions coming together, I can assure you that I'm sitting in the opposition right now and playing the role of a constructive opposition. We've raised questions about the government's actions in Bede, where a horrific killing of a sarpanch has raised severe questions on law and order situations. And we've also raised questions about Somnath Suryavanshie's death in custody, which has raised questions.
That's one, Anish. One is sitting in the opposition in the capacity in which you are as a political outfit. The other is, of course, the scenario that slowly unfolded in front of the entire country with regards to the split in the faction, and it wasn't too long ago. 2023 is not forgotten and well behind us. So a possibility most certainly can't be ruled out, and with the kind of reactions coming in, not just from the top leadership as well, but also, you know, the cadre, the foot soldiers, they're all of the opinion that it's a welcome move if it benefits both the factions.
I think I'm very grateful because most of the moves that have come from senior leaders in the NCP Ajit Pawar faction, who have reaffirmed the fact that Pawar Sahib remains the ideological fountainhead of the NCP-SP and the person that the party, regardless of which faction it's divided into, looks up to. So
I think Jitendra Awad ji is a leader from your party. He too said, I have no objection to the reconciliation. So
but that's after Praful Patel ji's statement saying that Sharad Pawar is a deity, and that's after.
Okay, very interesting. So I want to understand from Tuhin, where is the BJP placed on this? If at all we do see coming together, and all of this, of course, I do admit on purposes in the realm of speculation. But what will be the BJP's take in your view, Tuhin?
Well, first of all, they need to make up their mind, because even if, like my friend from Sharad Pawarji's party is mentioning that the initiative is largely from Ajit Pawarji's party, it's probably because Ajit Pawar still shares an emotional bond with Sharad Pawarji, and he can't see, you know, the decline of Sharad Pawar in politics. So that could be probably the only reason why he wants a rapprochement. But having said that, the final decision has to be taken by the party concerned, which is Sharad Pawarji's party, and only if they take a formal stand will we be in a position to comment or, you know, we have any clarity on the issue.
But is there a sense that perhaps Devendra Fadnavis appears to be in a pole position right now, you know, not just being the chief minister, but the manner in which he's really taken the alliance forward, the Mahayuti forward, and to that kind of a mandate? Do you think that's really changed the political scenario?
Yeah. He is the tallest leader in Maharashtra right now. He has delivered extensively. You know, he has delivered more than what was expected, because a mandate of this nature was not expected by anybody, especially, you know, in coalition politics. A robust majority of this magnitude was obviously, you know, it's completely blown off the opposition, and the opposition will take a very long time to recoup and to, you know, get their act together from here. So yes, he is the tallest leader right now, and he has led the coalition in a brilliant fashion.
Okay, which implies, Mr. Jhan prompts us to think that everybody wants to keep their options open, it seems, at this point in time. Because yes, the political scenario in Maharashtra is very fluid. You have 6 strong political outfits, and that was at the heart of, you know, every debate that we were having in the run-up to the assembly election. So is that what is being seen on part of the Sena UBT? Because yes, you've been the strongest allies before 2019. And nothing is ruled out in a state like Maharashtra when politics, when it comes to politics.
In politics, the friend becomes foe and the foe becomes friend. It is always opposite to each other.
It doesn't appear so, especially when you're taking on one another.
And eventually, what the BJP will be having their negative side if these parties are getting together, because these are regional outfits of the party. In Maharashtra.
But is it an attempt to de-escalate political tensions? Because we've seen some extremely bitter campaign between the BJP and Sena UBT in particular.
Yes.
And this coming from Sanjay Raut is least expected. Like I said, doesn't have too much to say about the Congress, forget the BJP. And I'm talking about the post-2019 scenario.
Yes. And the thing is that if these two parties are all together, if you combine them together, the parties will be around 120-140 range. So BJP will not think of getting these parties to be together again. And they don't want to be together again, because that will disbenefit, or that will become negative for them. So in any event, what will happen, it is not known to us.
No, any addition is not going to lead to a subtraction for the BJP, to win, is it? Because it can't get better than this for the Mahayuti alliance at least.
Well, like I mentioned, two parties, whether they accept it or whether they choose to be in denial, that's a choice they have to make. But UBT and Sharad Pawarji's party are clearly facing an existential crisis. It's written all over the wall. And if they don't accept it, then obviously, you know, the way ahead would be far more difficult. But what decision they take is something, you know, it really depends on them. And once they make up their mind, the BJP will obviously formalize its stand on what the situation would be going ahead.
Okay, now for NCP SP, Anish, you know, the picture did a complete turnaround from Lok Sabha to assembly elections, from that 8 seats to, a poor performance in assembly elections. So is this also a result of, a lot of introspection? And more importantly, the question that perhaps your faction currently is brainstorming, is it on the lines of who next after Sharad Pawar? Is this all about legacy now going forward?
Not at all. I think we're not thinking that far yet, because Pawar Sahib has led this party and will continue to lead it. And as someone who's been written off for the 5 decades of his political existence, he welcomes people who keep writing him off time and again, because he only loves to prove them wrong. So I think the reality is that the Vidhan Sabha elections have been a setback, but certainly not a complete rout for us.
Okay, so what in your view explains Supriya
Suleji's a party that has been decimated does not bring a government with an unprecedented majority to its knees after the murder of a Sarpanch in Beed. A party that has been decimated does not continue to hold its own in the opposition and find its presence on the ground. So let me remind you that even after these results, it's only been Pawar Sahib who's been touring across the state along with other opposition leaders and making sure that the government is held accountable despite our reduced numbers.
Anish, so there is a possibility of any of this going forward. It's going to have a direct implication on the future of INDI, and that credit is being given to Sharad Pawar ji, is one of the strongest pillars in bringing together this alliance to fight the NDA, to fight the Bharatiya Janata Party. So it's going to have larger consequences, if at all. That is a possibility which could turn into a reality.
And I think we'll have to wait to see where those realities unfold. But for now, I think we maintain that we've gotten a fairly good vote share. We managed to stay strong in the opposition, and we'll see how the political situation unfolds in the days to come.
Okay, all right. Last word to Tuhin, and then I need to quickly wrap up. Tuhin,
well,
how do you look at the two parties and how they're responding?
To give Sharad
the ball
Pawar
seems to be clearly in the BJP's court, even if it's not being admitted.
To give Sharad Pawar ji, due credit, yes, he has been touring the state extensively, but, so have the other parties, except for Uddhav Thackeray ji. In fact, most of the Maharashtra politicians have been very active on the ground. But fact is, even after all the touring, the performance was miserable, which only shows that, these tours haven't had the desired traction. The issues which they are raising, they don't, get a traction with the voters on the ground. For example, I don't think Sharad Pawar ji should have rushed to Markadwadi, to join the protest against the EVM, because if one encourages that, every locality in the country would be deciding whether, it goes for voting through EVM or paper ballots. I think you need to take a more responsible
stance. As was just opined, how would you respond? Whether or not this is an attempt to perhaps in the longer run change the dynamics in the Mahayuti alliance, create a sort of a rift between the Chief Minister and Eknath Shinde, given the manner in which we've seen, a lot of time being taken to finally reach a decision as far as the power sharing formula is concerned. Could that be a possibility in your view?
Well, with 3 different partners, obviously things are going to take time. But when we deliver, we work at breakneck speed. Unlike, Uddhav Thackeray ji, who never used to come out of his house. When we work at a very gallant speed and we deliver very quickly. So yes, in the initial days, there are always hiccups. But I don't see this alliance this alliance is for keeps, and it's going to be there even in the 2029 election. That's something I can tell you for sure.
Okay, is this just, some of the former allies heaping praises, and does it stop there or does it go much beyond that? We'll have to perhaps wait and watch. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us this evening. Thank you. That's all the time we have. Heading into a very short break. On the other side, viewers, we shift our attention to a new virus in China that has overwhelmed hospitals as per report. It's set off alarm across the world. India also closely monitoring the situation. We get you all the details in just a bit. Be right back.
Co-powered by.
Last night, January 1st at approximately 11:18 p.m., the NYPD received multiple 911 calls for several people shot in front of an event space located here at 91-12 144th Place. Our initial investigation revealed that approximately 90 people were inside the location in an upstairs private event space. The venue was at capacity and a queue of about 15 people formed outside awaiting as other attendees exited. 4 males were walking eastbound on 91st Avenue onto 144th Place towards the venue. 3 to 4 males then opened fire over 30 times in the direction of the group standing outside the event space, striking multiple victims. The males fled on foot westbound on 91st Street towards 143rd Place, where they entered a light-colored sedan with out-of-state plates. Officers responding to the multiple 911 calls found a total of 10 victims, 6 females, 4 males, which were taken to area hospitals. All of the victims are expected to recover with non-life-threatening injuries.
A Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside the Trump International Hotel, Las Vegas, Wednesday morning. Las Vegas police released this video of the blast, which killed the driver and injured several others. They also released footage that showed the vehicle's interior afterward, which they said showed gas and camp fuel canisters, as well as large firework mortars. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said the blast was unrelated to the Cybertruck itself, saying in a post on X, quote, "All vehicle telemetry was positive at the time of the explosion." FBI Special Agent Jeremy Schwartz told reporters on Wednesday that it was not yet clear whether the blast was an act of terrorism.
I know everybody's interested in that word and trying to see if we can say, hey, this is a terrorist attack. That is our goal, and that's what we're trying to do.
He added the vehicle had been rented from Colorado and that the FBI had identified the driver, but was not yet ready to publicly name them. The Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas is part of the Trump Organization, the company of President-elect Donald Trump, who will return to the White House later this month. Musk was a key backer of Trump in his 2024 presidential campaign and is also an advisor to the incoming president. The explosion occurred just hours after a man drove a truck into crowds of New Year's Day revelers in New Orleans, killing 15. The FBI said an ISIS flag was attached to a staff protruding from the trailer hitch, and that a potential explosive device was found in the rented vehicle. Las Vegas police said both that vehicle and the Cybertruck had been rented through car-sharing service Turo. President Joe Biden on Monday said law enforcement was still investigating whether the Las Vegas explosion and the New Orleans attack were linked.
More than a dozen people were killed by a man crashing his pickup truck into a crowd in New Orleans on New Year's Day. Several more people were injured by the attack on revelers in the city's French Quarter. Reuters obtained the following of first responders in the aftermath. Some viewers may find graphic. It happened around 3:15 a.m. at the intersection of Canal and Bourbon Streets, a historic tourist destination. An eyewitness said she heard the rev of an engine, a loud impact, then screams.
And debris, just metal, the sound of crunching metal and bodies.
Police say the driver was 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jibe, an army veteran from Texas. Officers said they found an ISIS flag in the vehicle. Jibe was said to be in full military gear, subsequently got in a shootout with police and was killed. The incident has prompted an investigation into possible links to terrorist organizations. Investigators say they found weapons and potential explosives in the suspect's vehicle. They also say he may not have acted alone. A search is ongoing for his known associates. Public records show Jibe worked in real estate in Houston. He had spent 10 years in the US military as a human resources and IT specialist and had been deployed to Afghanistan. US President Joe Biden condemned the attack in a media briefing and revealed more details about Jibe.
The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill.
Biden also said investigators were checking for any link to a vehicle explosion outside Trump Tower in Las Vegas, but that no evidence had been found so far. ISIS, also called Islamic State or ISIL, is a Muslim militant group. It once imposed a reign of terror in Iraq and Syria until it collapsed from fighting a US-led coalition. Experts say ISIS has continued to recruit sympathizers online.
Welcome back. And well, viewers, 5 years after the COVID-19 pandemic, which first originated from China, China once again is witnessing an outbreak of the human metapneumovirus or the HMPV. According to reports and social media posts, hospitals are overcrowded. with infected individuals, and crematories also overwhelmed. Some social media users in fact claim that multiple viruses including influenza A, HMPV, mycoplasma, pneumonia, COVID-19 are all circulating in China at the same time. There are even claims that China has declared a state of emergency. However, there's no official confirmation to the same. Let's take it point by point. Who is at higher risk given this virus? Young children, older adults and those with weakened immune systems are at a higher risk of developing severe illness due to HMPV. The next question being asked, what are the complications of HMPV? Sometimes HMPV, viewers, can cause severe illness that might require hospitalization. Bronchiolitis, bronchitis, pneumonia, asthma and ear infection are a few complications that may develop. What is the HMPV infection to begin with? Let's break down those details. The infection is caused by human metapneumovirus, causes symptoms similar to common cold. That's something you can watch out for. It can sometimes cause pneumonia and bronchitis as well. Children, aged people can get severe symptoms as well, so they need to be a little careful. It also spreads through coughing, sneezing and shaking hands. So human touch is something that can get you to be a victim of the same. Touching door handles, keyboards can also cause this infection. In fact, no specific treatment or vaccine is available to treat this virus immediately, and limiting the spread is the only way to tackle this disease. Some more questions have been answered for you. The question that is commonly being asked, has the WHO declared an emergency till now? The answer to that is emergency related to the spread of this virus in China or the rest of the world hasn't been declared as yet. There's no official data that indicates a pandemic-like situation so far. The next question being asked, has the virus been detected outside of China as yet? And the answer to that is it's been detected in countries like the United States, Canada, parts of Europe and some other nations as well. Next big thing being asked, what are the symptoms of this new virus? The answer to that, like I said, symptoms are cough, fever, nasal congestion, shortness in breathing. Worsening of symptoms may also include problems like bronchitis or pneumonia. And when do these symptoms show, or what is the incubation period here? The answer to that is, as experts opine, a person will likely experience symptoms within 3 to 6 days after contracting the infection. There's also a question being asked on what are the preventive measures of the HMPV infection. The answer to that, wash hands with soap and water, use alcohol-based sanitizer if not soap available, avoid touching eyes, your nose or face, cover your nose and mouth while sneezing or coughing, wash hands after touching door handles, workstations, keyboards. Also wear masks when people around you are not keeping well. Apart from this, the National Center for Disease Control, or the NCDC, which falls under the Union Health Ministry here in India, is closely monitoring the respiratory infections and seasonal influenza cases. We'll continue to monitor the situation closely. Last week, in fact, China's Disease Control Authority also said it was piloting a monitoring system for pneumonia of unknown origin, with cases of some respiratory diseases expected to rise through the water. Recent cases detected include pathogens such as rhinovirus and also human metapneumovirus, with cases of virus among people under the age of 14 showing an upward trend, especially in northern provinces. And that's why it's a worrying sign, not just in China, but the neighboring nations and the rest of the world also closely watching for all these symptoms. That's all the time I have in this edition of The Right Stand. Thanks for watching. That's all we could pack for you. Over to Akanksha Swaroop for the brass tacks.
Green Lamp Laminates presents CNN News 18 Primetime Studio.
Very good evening. You're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Akanksha Swaroop and we're coming live to you from CNN News 18's Primetime Studio, presented by Green Lamp Laminates. आपदा को हराना है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी को लाना है. Gifting BJP that slogan, Prime Minister Modi kicked off his maiden rally just ahead of Delhi election from Delhi's Ram Leela Maidan, the very site from where Anna Hazare launched an anti-corruption campaign in Delhi in 2011, and Arvind Kejriwal was considered his close aide. However, Hazare parted ways with Kejriwal after he decided to come into politics. Now, in an apparent dig at Aam Aadmi Party's national convener Arvind Kejriwal, Prime Minister Modi stated that a few Kattar Beiman, meaning staunchly dishonest people, have pushed Delhi towards a disaster by keeping Anna Hazare at the front. In another veiled dig at Kejriwal, Prime Minister Modi said that even he could have made Sheeshmahal. In fact, he targeted the former Delhi Chief Minister for allegedly constructing a luxurious residence for himself as the CM. Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also inaugurated the 1,675 newly constructed flats for the dwellers of JJ clusters and also handed over keys to eligible beneficiaries at Swabhiman Apartments in Ashok Vihar in Delhi. So, with focus on the fact that Delhi is the capital and big expenditure projects, whether health or infrastructure, are done by the centre,